What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is November 13th, 2025. And, well, I'm going to try and do you all a favor and keep this video under 10 minutes. Why? Because the charts were nice and clean today. For the most part, we'll explain the trades that we found and why. Over 100% win on the first trade. And our third trade ended up getting down to, if you stopped out or taken profit when we were suggesting it, just over 185% win. Was a monster trade. But before we get into all that stuff, consider buying the book. Everything I teach you guys in these videos is right here in this book, as is live charting sessions. I made special videos for the people who buy that book so that they can learn how to chart their support and resistance and all that fun stuff. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord community, well, there's links down below. I'd love to have you. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the markets or the charts or whatever you want to call them and talk about what we were looking for and why we did what we did, as we always do. This morning, we had a put line at 616.80 and a call line at 618.26. Well, we never came close to the call line. We did much later in the day, but nonetheless, we were trending into the open downwards. Okay, so we're going to be prepared for puts. And if you were ready for calls, simply because we were putting in higher lows leading up to this point, I was telling people, I'm going to be prepared for calls simply because we have started to put in higher lows. But the minute we rejected 3 minutes before the open, I told everybody I'm going to be switching back to puts. I said, that's a pretty convincing candle. And well, we have a trend line that seems to be trying to be respected. So we're going to switch over to puts. Now, when we opened, we did start to move down. I said to everybody on the channel at the time, I said, well, ADD is opening red, and that's a big seller wick on top there. I said, I'm pretty comfortable with puts. I'm going to wait to get into those puts until the right time. Now, we breached the put line. Is this the right time? Not today, it wasn't, because there's a gigantic ADD green candle there. I announced this the whole time. I said, no, I'm not in. We had new people in our community today who specifically asked me, are you in puts? I said, no, I'm not in puts yet. I don't like ADD doing what it's doing. What I would like to see ADD doing is printing much smaller green candles. I'm okay with some green candles on ADD, but not when it's on a rocket ship, unless the Qs are on a deep dive to hell on their chart, which they weren't yet. So the Qs looked heavy. We were still below the trend line. We did breach support, which we had done in pre-market, and it didn't continue down at this point, but ADD massively going up. And I said, at this moment, I said, I'm still interested in puts. I just need to see ADD printing much smaller candles or showing some signs of weakness, which includes at least some wicking on the tops of the candles. Guys, all I'm looking for is a reason to justify getting into puts. I recognize that the market is struggling. It's bleeding, but I need the momentum at the moment to be waning, not against me, but for me. Okay. Now, just because we started to put a wick in here, we recognize this. I said, guys, we're staying below resistances. We're putting in lower highs on the Qs. I'm not questioning whether I should be looking for calls or puts. I'm questioning when should I be getting into those puts? And that is when I said, okay, I'm seeing wicking starting on ADD and their candles are smaller. My hope is that with the strength of the buying at least slowing down or stopping, even if it doesn't crash down on ADD, if the Qs move down, SPY's going to go with it. Okay? Because no longer do we have something going in the opposite direction that's keeping SPY held hostage. You could see here, Qs were going down, SPY was going sideways. I have cheater cards. They look like this. You're more than welcome to download them because I keep them at the bottom of all my Discord or my YouTube videos. It's a Google link for a zip file. Grab them. When Qs are going down and ADD is going up, SPY's going to be more moving sideways than anything. That's what I was waiting for. Started to see some weakness or slowing down of the move to the upside on ADD. We were then crossing the put line. I tell everybody, all right, I'm taking the puts now. And the next known support on after that one is our solid orange lines, is all the way down at 612.15. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get there in the first time, but we did get way, way lower without any fear of uncomfortableness or reversals or anything during this time, that made me very comfortable holding onto this trade. I was talking through the entire time. And once we got down to support here or near, down here, we said, all right, I was getting close to 100%. This trade for me was 100.98% win. Got in here, got out here. I announced the whole thing. I said, well, we're starting to see some other wicks on the bottom. And if ADD starts printing green, you're probably going to want to take yourself out of that. And I told everybody right then and there, again, if you're in there, what I'm telling you is not, a lie or bullshit. Said, all right, guys, I'm stopping myself out of this trade. I tightened up my stop loss because I was hoping to get down to this orange line. We didn't get there. I started to see wicks on the bottom of the red candle on ADD. And I said that. I said, there's a wick on the bottom of the candle. Means buyers are at least stepping into the market. We don't know that they're going to win. But at this point, I am up so much money and so green that I don't even care if I make more at this point. But I would care if I made less by holding on, hoping for more. Okay, so this is my trade, entered at 934, exited at 945. That's a long trade for me, but it was a massive win, and a lot of people took the same ride. So kudos to you guys. Then we moved up. Now, I wasn't so much looking for calls yet because, well, we were still below the original downtrend line. We did take out resistances, and we did put in higher lows, but the market just seemed heavy today, and heavy it was. But we did pull back, and at this moment, we said to everybody, oh, that's another higher low. Higher lows are bad for puts. And ADD at this point started to print some green candles, okay, which is good. And then what happens? We move above the downtrend line. That is this. And we pull back. And when we're doing this pullback, I said out loud, guys, this is likely to become a higher low. Why? Because ADD at the moment is printing a big green candle. If that higher low comes to fruition, we're aiming to make it up to the next resistance up. That's your trade. That's your trade. That's it. There's no more complications to it. It's not hard to understand. We broke the downtrend line. We put in a higher low. We're expecting to break resistance and head to the next resistance. And that trade worked out. Once we got to that resistance, we hit pink lines on both charts at the same time. Not a good time to be considering holding onto your puts, especially if ADD is 4 minutes into printing red again. If you are coming up to a resistance on SPY and Qs at the same time, especially the pink line, and ADD is 4 minutes into red printing, don't hold on through that resistance. It's not going to work out well for you. Okay? Just be aware of that stuff and don't get yourself into trouble. Okay? If you're going to hold through that, you better have a stop loss already in profit. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. What happens? We have a nasty rejection there. We come down. And what's this right here? Oh, this is a pullback. This is a pullback with ADD printing red. This is a lower high. To which I say, guys, if we get through this support here, this guy right here, we're expecting to go down to this guy right here. Okay? ADD at the time was printing red. Let's go. This trade right here turned into an absolute monster. And by the time it got down here, it was at 185% win. 185%. Now, a lot of people don't hold that long, and that's okay. That's okay. What was our stop point during this move down? Well, as long as we can maintain a downtrend, we're putting in lower highs. We're staying below the trend line, which was steep. We'll give it that. Right here would have been a justification for some people to stop out of their trades. Now, we don't like to make things situational, but there are situations where you might be a little bit more lackadaisical on your stopping point. I would stop out aggressively here if I was freshly into the position and barely green. At this moment, the folks that were in this trade will already up 100%. Now, what we talk about is, ideally, if we break the downtrend line, you want to lock in your profits if ADD is printing green. And those two things were true at this moment. But when you have big fat green profits, your brain changes gears a little bit sometimes. Not that it's the right thing, because plenty of times it will go against you by playing this game. But the reminder is, guys, we broke the downtrend, but you have a lower high here. If that lower high, which is proven resistance, fails to stay as resistance, get out of the trade. That's the worst case scenario, meaning is if that holds, that's the only thing left that should save this trade. So we did have some people hold the trade. The resistance held, and then we pushed down even farther. And we made it to the next line of support down. And then we pushed through that and made it a little lower. Now you're saying, well, what's this exit for? Well, that exit's for the fact that, and I didn't transfer it over to this chart, was we had a lower high here. So as long as spot or Q stayed below that resistance, then we stay in the trade. But because it closed back above that resistance, we stopped out of the trade. Okay, same reason we stayed in over here. If you did, lower highs are a form of resistance. You can give them a chance to work if you want. If you don't want to give them a chance to work, you want to play the trend line, get out. Okay, you can't cry over spilled milk. That was pretty much the last trade we found, because after that we did a whole lot of choppy until, well, now it's still trash. But nonetheless, guys, today was a great day. Today was a great day for big sustained moves. I don't know why the market's upset. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant to us as day traders because, well, we're taking daily trades. We're not swing trading. We're not holding long-term positions for the most part. I mean, you are, but that's not what you're trading. In here, we're trading for the day. We want to accept what the market's willing to give us, and then take advantage of the expected moves that we look for out of these trades. With that said, I know I'm a little over the 10-minute mark. For that, I apologize. So we're going to wrap it up, and I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to join my Discord community, well, I'd love to have you. The links are down below. If you want those convergence, divergence, cheater cards, whatever you want to call them, they're also in the link. And if you want to buy my book, it's on Amazon. It's right here. It's got great reviews. Yes, the only complaint that makes them not all 5-star reviews is that the text is a little bit small in the book. And I did that for you, not for me, because if I would have made the text bigger, it makes the book longer and it makes it more expensive. I make a whopping $3 per book on those. So this is not a moneymaker for me. It is my desire to try and help you guys learn how to do this profitably. That's the most important thing to me. All right. With that said, you guys have a great rest of your day. I am not going to be working tomorrow because I have kids' award ceremonies and doctor's appointments and all kinds of things that I got to do. So we'll have Brock on the mic. Yeah, you and guys enjoy your weekend. Till Monday. I love you guys.